everyone that wants to record is recording. Sweet. Cool. So this is my class on isolated pendulums. An isolated pendulum is like a normal pendulum, but isolated. So you're traveling across half the arc of a circle with your hand, and your poi head is traveling on the other arc. And so it'll feel like an isolation, but just sort of bouncier and not going as far. So from there, we can do a bunch of hybrids because we've got a unit circle like you do in an isolation or anything else that you want to join together. So for the second poi, if you're doing this pattern, you can do an extension versus your hand or versus the poi head. And that'll create two different timings and directions that you can get into. So the one versus your poi head, you can get into same time, same direction, or same opposites from the top. Sweet. And then versus your hand, you can get into split time, same direction, or I think it's split up.
Split up.
Bottom. Yeah. Sweet. So there's a bunch of useful transitions there and useful hybrids that you can get into. Another thing you can do with this isolated pendulum motion is let it drop and lift. So when it's at one side, you're going to let it drop and lift it up to the other side. So the bottom half of that will feel like a cat eye, but just sort of coming to rest halfway. This is a really good drill for getting that bottom half just right, and then isolating over the top. Sweet. This pattern has a couple of cool properties. So the hand is making a circle as well as the poi head, and they're both traveling in opposite directions, and they both meet in the center. So it's a useful and kind of quirky pattern in that regard. So to make a basic hybrid, you can join an extension to either your hand or the poi head. So joining it to my hand will look like this. Joining it to the poi head will look like this. And both of those have very useful transitions as well. So from the hand, at the top, again we have split time, same direction. So you can get into a lot of patterns from there. At the bottom we have same time opposites, so you can get into a lot of patterns from there as well. So those are the two timings and directions to get into from this pattern. Versus the head. At the bottom we get into same time, same direction. Pretty common, useful timing. And at the top, get into split time, opposite direction. So those are the two timings and directions you get into in that pattern. You can also join other patterns together, like cat eyes or isolation, to make more hybrids as well. So you can make these kind of hybrids. Or you can also join it to the hand instead and make these kind of hybrids. Or you could also join it to just the path that your hand is following, or just the path that the head is following, to make strange different hybrids that aren't actually joined together, but still make really cool patterns. Or nope, let's join together. Join together. Cool. Stuff like that as well. Which again gets you into a bunch of other timings and directions. So if you just pay attention to what's happening at the top half and what's happening at the bottom half, you can sort of figure out where to go from there. So there's lots of useful hybrids that come from this style of pattern. And yeah, hybrids are good. So another thing you can do is have two of these at the same time. You can be clapping, doing windscreen wipers, whatever you prefer. But for one particular pattern, we're going to be doing them opposite each other. We're going to move one above the other one, get used to that, and also get used to it the other orientation, so with the candles on top below. Then what we're going to do is, at 90 degrees, switch which hand is on top, push through, then at 90 degrees, switch which hand is on top again, and then continue that motion to make this pattern. I think that's the cleanest that explanation's gone.
That was really nice.
From here, there's a lot of useful transitions as well. If you give the bottom hand some more momentum, you can get to this hybrid and then into an isolation, and you can do that all at once to make that kind of pattern. To get back out of an isolation, you sort of let it flop and then drop, and then you're back into this pattern. Yay!
Floppy drop.
Flop and drop. Yeah. Also, because I mentioned this 90-degree thing, you can also rotate this by 45 degrees and you get into point ISO frameworks and still chases and stuff like that, which is really useful. So from here, you can just rotate 45 degrees and you'll arrest the momentum of one of the poi, and you can get back into this. So if you just rotate the framework, you'll change what gravity does to it and be able to get into other frameworks. Yeah, so I think that's about it for what I've taught on isolated pendulums. So go and explore it and enjoy.
Yeah. Tim Goddard.
Yeah.
Firedrums, 1998.
98.
Woo. This is 2014.